sometimes it can be quite challenging for teams to make decisions. It could be that they have discussions, debates, dialogue, whatever word we want to use, and then the leader might have ultimate decision-making accountability,
Yeah.
or it could be they just find it challenging making decisions. They might talk in circles. How do teams make better decisions together?
We've got hundreds, probably thousands of teams around the world now using a very simple tool, which starts off by getting everybody to think about their answers to three very simple questions. What do I want to say about this issue? What do I want to hear other people say about this issue? And what do I want the outcome of the conversation to be? And everybody just thinks about these things for a while, writes down their answers. And then the team leader asks everybody one by one to read out what they've written. There's no discussion at this stage where you can ask for clarification. And then typically the team leader will be the last person to say what they've written down. Then you start the discussion. The first thing that we notice when people do this is that it takes half as long because everybody knows where everybody else is coming from. The second thing we notice is that it's much more polite, and because what I said to you, I know you had concerns about this. Are we addressing those? And the third thing is that when it comes to the point of pulling it all together and making the decision, typically we've got to a consensus around it. Or if the team leader is the one who's got to make the decision, they say, listen to all of these things, and I think I've got to go with this. But everybody understands the rationale for it, the thinking behind it. So the team leader would say, go around everybody and say, have you said what you need to say? Have you heard what you needed to hear? Have you achieved what you needed to achieve? Anybody says, no, you continue. But once you've gone through that process and everybody says, yes, that decision is a firm one, a real one that people are committed to.
Yeah. Because it's an interesting one. Like I always hear language like, oh, we make decisions by consensus, or some leadership teams even vote to make the final decision and those sorts of things. Like I guess when I hear people say, oh, we have a very nice culture, we don't necessarily, I want to say debate, but I feel like it's a naughty word to say now, but we don't debate things or disagree, and we just kind of toe the line as well. And it feels like then they're missing an opportunity to innovate and challenge, and it might come back to psychological safety as well. What's your view on when decision-making isn't helpful? Is consensus and voting and all those sorts of things, are they unhelpful things, or is that useful at times? What's your view?
There's still a distinction between consensus and agreement. When we all have agreement, we're all on the same page. When we have a consensus, we may not all be on it. There's a sort of begrudging part to it. So we're really looking for, do we have true agreement? Is a very different thing.
But the interesting thing, I often use like slightly different language again, and I often say we don't necessarily want to agree, we want to disagree, but then we want to align to the decision that we make. Because I think sometimes we're not always going to agree, but the issue I think for teams is when a decision's been made and we're really not aligned to that decision because we haven't got our point of view across. And I think that can sometimes be.
And absolutely. So have we been heard is the most critical thing. We may not always like the decisions that are made, but have we been heard? People do. That's the critical thing. For me, I think it's quite interesting that the word consensus itself, which basically a combination of cuss at the end and sense in the middle. It's until you take the sense out of it and you got cuss. I like playing with words.
Yeah.